I just
How
turned
you
it off.
been? How you been?
Yeah, I've been good, you know. I've been alright. Been alright,
Yeah,
ticking over throughout the quarantine.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been
How's
good.
things been with how's things been with COVID and stuff? Obviously, training, etc.
You know what? It's been good. Like when at the start of COVID, obviously I was ill, so it weren't great for a while. 6 weeks I was battling with, and then after that I got back on my training properly, back on doing my runs. I got a new heavy bag in my house, and then I started doing my cycling and stuff. So I ended up, being able to train and tick over
Yeah,
throughout the whole quarantine situation.
yeah,
So
yeah. Have you feel like
what-
you've been able to stay fit and stuff, or has it been a bit difficult
yeah.
with it?
Do you know what? The first week, do you know what it is? Because even when you're training like an hour, if you're doing your runs and stuff, where you're used to, like, say for instance, I train usually like 3, 4 times a day. You're active and then you're out and you're traveling a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
So your calorie intake and everything, you're burning constantly. But because of the quarantine, even if you train
yeah,
1 hour or 2 hours, you're 22 hours sitting doing nothing else.
yeah,
What you're used to, so
yeah,
your
yeah. See that?
metabolism now slowing down.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I see
Yeah.
you've
How
been
do you
doing
find?
I see you've been doing a lot of. Do you know what? Not been bad. I've just been I've still been working through, but just working from home.
Yeah.
But doing like walks and runs, and I've got a bike as well, so I've been doing a bit of cycling and stuff. So
You're doing
it's
cycling,
been it's
yeah?
been quite good. So I've kind of yeah, 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 yeah. Not as far as you though. I know you've been doing them mad ones down to the coast and that.
Yeah,
how
no,
many
that's
how
what
many miles you been doing?
you know what? Some days I was doing 80, some days
You keep
100.
break,
Obviously,
you keep breaking up a little bit. Huh?
is it better? Is it better yet?
You're
Or is
breaking
it
up a
still?
little bit. Yeah, one second, one second. One second. Hello? Can you hear
JD's
me?
asked me why am I not fighting for the Britain? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Is my
yeah,
signal
I can hear you.
better?
Can hear you now. Can hear you better.
Someone just asked me why am I not fighting for the British? I'm not
Yeah,
fighting for the British because Mick Hennessy decided to do a behind the closed doors show with 2 of his own fighters, and said I can only fight once the what's it called, the lockdown's over, and they've got fans back in the crowd, basically for the person.
well, someone just asked that in the followers. Yeah, don't worry,
Yeah,
we'll get into that. We'll get into that, man.
don't worry, yeah, we'll get into all of that. Don't worry about
So,
that.
you've been doing the bike rides. I know you've done a charity bike ride for Daddyless Daughters, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that. What's that about?
So basically, like every year, I usually used to do bike rides, like the London to Brighton bike ride every year,
Yeah,
for the British Heart Foundation. So I was doing that since I was about 12.
yeah,
But so obviously through lockdown, you're doing loads of running and stuff. You need to break up your training a little bit.
yeah,
So I thought I'd get on my bike. My uncles rang me one day. They was like, we just finished doing a ride to Brighton. I said, oh, you lot are doing rides to Brighton. So I rang my cousin. I said, look, order your bike now. Let's get on this. He
yeah,
ordered his bike. A week later it come. And then we just decided to ride to Brighton. We went Hyde Park the first day. Then
yeah,
second day we decided to ride to Brighton
yeah,
and then get a train and then ride halfway back from the train station. Then
yeah,
after that, next week we decided let's go Southend and back. So we done that.
yeah. I
Then
see that
obviously
one. That was
once
mad.
we've done that 80 something miles, there's no going back. So every week it was minimum that or pushing on.
Yeah, yeah, more.
And then we done like Brighton and back. And then I think that was 100 and something miles. And then yeah, we said, you know what? One day we had a conversation. We was
Yeah,
like, imagine doing something like somewhere far like Bournemouth. We was like, oh yeah, that's unrealistic. And we all looked at
yeah,
each other, started laughing. We was like, yeah, is it unrealistic? Then
yeah,
my friend from Bournemouth rang me and he was like, oh, see, that'd be mad if we rode down here to Bournemouth one day, but it's like too far. I wouldn't
yeah.
want you to get injured. I said, you know what? I might try it. He said, oh, for real? I said, yeah. And then so we're setting up a charity ride. I then spoke to my friend from Daddyless Daughters who owns the company and was talking about, doing it for that domestic violence, was also thinking about doing it for NHS, etc.
Yeah,
But then
yeah,
when we looked into the NHS, they had so much funding from like everyone, like millions of pounds of funding.
yeah,
And then so when we looked into the domestic violence campaigns, I was looking at the sort of companies, Solace, etc., of who we could have donated and built money for.
yeah,
But then I realized that I'm looking at all these other companies. Why not do it for a company that's starting from the ground up, who's built, they're from local, from the area.
Yeah.
They're doing great works. They're not as big as Solace and stuff. So I thought it's gonna impact their company more of our contribution and their help
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
allow them to do some of the stuff they want to do, some of the workshops, etc. So I thought
No, that's nice.
our money would impact their business more than it will for someone like Solace. It will just go under the rug for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's when we set it up. They got involved, and then we decided to create the charity cycle with them in partnership. So
Okay.
we decided to set it up together, and then it was a couple of weeks before when the go ahead started.
Yeah.
After the COVID, the Black Lives Matter campaign started.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it become difficult because although we wanted to keep the campaign going, also the Black Lives Matter campaign was overriding it on socials and in, do you know what I'm saying? So it was a
Yeah. Yeah.
situation
Yeah.
like, do we continue doing this or
Yeah.
just leave it in a matter like this? But we thought, you know what, we started this, be persistent with it, don't get distracted, keep tunnel vision, because you're
Yeah.
helping a business and a situation of people who need your help. So don't let other things also distract that. And we just pressed on with it. So the 2 weeks we had to push it out there was obviously at a hard time, and we
Yeah.
got it done, carried on our practice, and pushed on from there.
Oh no, that's proper good. That is, man. It's good for a good cause as well. Did you raise money in that for it as well? Yeah.
Yeah, we raised money just over £3,000
Oh, that's good.
in 2 weeks. So we was happy that we got something done, and we just thought from now on it'd be nice where we do annually. You do British Heart Foundation for London to Brighton. If we
Yeah.
could do an annual event for domestic violence for like daddyless daughters and these companies of that situation from now on.
No, that's good, man. It's giving back and stuff. That's really good.
100%.
So, just before we get into it, Big Baby Miller. You see what's come out about him, yeah? Can that be real, man?
That guy, if that's real, he needs a lifetime ban.
Man, people are calling him the walking pharmacy, man. What's he playing at, man?
You know what? The first time he got caught, it
Yeah.
was 3 different accounts of drugs.
Yeah.
2 oral and 1 injected.
Yeah.
That's not an accident. You know, like sometimes you get like, you know, they could have took a supplement they didn't know had traces or something.
Yeah.
But when you're getting caught with 2 oral and an injection, there's
Yeah,
no mistake.
He's been going at it.
He's not on the 8 taken.
Yeah.
And then he's not even had his comeback fight after the drug ban. How could you get banned on your comeback fight of a drug ban with more drugs?
Yeah, that's an instant. That should be just an instant life ban now. To be
that's
fair,
a life ban.
You're taking him.
He's taking
Yeah.
them.
So yeah, is that what you think? Then you think he shouldn't be allowed to box if it comes back that he has actually done that?
No, he shouldn't. Because
Nah.
I think if you took stuff,
Yeah.
like first of all, the free he took on the first time, that wasn't an accident. But he might have, you know, been caught in some moment. Someone could have convinced him into it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the second time, after coming off of free account, that's silly.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know what's going through his mind in that.
I don't know. I saw he deleted his social media.
So yeah, gone, missing.
Oh God, it's mad.
So I want to get into so how did you get into boxing then? What made you start boxing?
You know, when we went South Northern Victory,
Yeah.
I was my cousin actually was going to start boxing. I was just following him down there.
Yeah.
So he asked me to follow him down to boxing. I was like, all right. So you know Terry, you remember Terry? We used to train down there.
Yeah,
you know how
no nonsense, Terry, man.
Yeah, Terry.
Yeah.
So I remember, because we started boxing the same day.
Yeah.
So I remember he used to have the trial periods. Remember, like everyone signs up on the same day, and after the 2-3 months, you either made it or you're out.
You don't. Yeah.
And I remember, funny enough, it was only me and you who made it through.
Yeah.
Everyone else in that period, they got kicked out, and then we had to start going to the senior. So that's where I started. And obviously, with Terry, I started like when you start missing days, there's no point even going back. Because you come 10 minutes late, he's blasting you. So if you're missing 2 sessions, you're as good as you're starting again.
Yeah.
So I started like that, then I stopped going, and then my other cousin used to box at the Lynn. He said, "I want you to come down to mine to start sparring." So I went down to his, started sparring down there, and there was another coach called Terry Palmer. He used to always tell me, "Oh, you're really talented, and you should continue, and you'll be a champion one day." And I used to think, is this guy gassing me up? I've not even really boxed, and there's people, England squad, ABA champions here. but I used to
yeah,
believe in him. So I used to always feel like I used to go just for his sake at one point. But I used to love boxing for the sparring aspect, but not as a career wise.
yeah, yeah,
And then I left there for a while doing other stuff. And then I remember seeing people I was in the gym with doing well and stuff. And I remember they weren't really that good.
yeah,
And I always thought if I went back to boxing, I'll just be consistent with it.
yeah.
So in the end, I went to go and sign up to start university, and they messed up my registration. So I started the class. The person who was in my class, they was doing full time and I was doing part time. But there
Yeah,
was only one extra module a week. So I thought I might as well do the full time. So
yeah,
when we was handing our modules, they told me to hand mine into the business block.
yeah.
So when I handed it into the business block, a couple of weeks later, I never heard nothing back. I wanted to know what I was doing. Cut a long story short, they lost my paperwork and they told me I've got to re-enroll next year.
Oh,
So I only went back to boxing as a pastime.
yeah.
Then I started winning, started doing well in the amateurs, and I started enjoying it. And then I started looking at career-wise. And off
How
the
many?
back of that, so
No,
again,
go on. No, sorry, go, Karen, Karen.
yeah, so off the back of that, I thought, you know what, after the first year, I didn't think of even going back. I thought, I'm going to push this boxing and see where I can go with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I've done 3 years in the amateurs, and then obviously got signed and turned over.
How many fights did you have in amateurs?
22.
So, yeah, see, that's not a lot of fights to be turning over
No,
pro, is it? From
no.
amateurs to pro.
But I
No,
feel
no.
like the first 2 years,
Yeah,
I have done novices for, I think, a year and a half.
yeah,
And then, you know, in the amateurs, when you start doing novices and you start doing well, you start winning things in novices, people don't want to box you, the
yeah,
clubs don't
yeah,
want to match you with their guys and stuff like that.
yeah,
So we started trying to see if we can get bouts um, like out the area.
yeah.
So that wasn't happening. I didn't want to sit on the shelf. So after like 9 fights, I went elite. And then I started boxing from, I think, about 9, 10 fights elite
Yeah,
to the rest of my career in
yeah,
the amateur.
yeah,
Um, But then my last year, obviously, I was training down at the Peacocks, Me Yard and Tunde and stuff. My last year, the amateurs. So I was training the sparring pros. So my
oh,
whole
okay.
last year of the amateurs were just pro training. We was going to the gym 9 till 3 in the evening, 9 till 3 in the afternoon. Then I was going to my amateur club in the evening, 7 till 10. So I
Oh,
started
okay.
training like a pro. So I started getting that pro style and losing interest in the amateurs.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
then after a while, then obviously my um, my pro coach now, Peter Sims, come and watched me in the championships, which I got a bad decision, but I was lucky that he was there to watch the fight. So he rang me on the Monday. He said, "Oh look, I think you're a good fighter. I think it was a bad decision. I still want to sign you. Do you want to push forward?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool." So I signed with him. We turned over, went from there. Then, funny enough, I didn't have a pro promoter at the time either.
no, no,
Um, and at the time, he was like, eventually I might get you a few fights and then we'll try and get you towards Matchroom or whatever. And he had one boy who was on a Matchroom show, and he had pulled him off the show. They had fell out. He'd left the gym,
yeah,
and in the space, and Eddie had then said to put me on the show so he can see me from my debut.
yeah, yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. So it was only 3 weeks until the show. I went and rolled the dice, had a 3 week camp, went out there and stopped my guy in 49 seconds.
Oh,
And
that's
from
sick,
then,
man.
Eddie was like, oh, yeah, he looked good. Put him on
Yeah,
again. Put me on again. Then he
yeah,
put me on again. Then it was like, right, all right, if we're going to invest, let's see what he's like. And that's when they gave me Richard Horton and gave me and O'Hara Davis our own show. And it was on
yeah.
the Anthony Joshua public workout.
Oh,
And I
that's
remember,
sick.
obviously, Richard Horton had a winning record as 8 fights in. He boxed for a few titles before. And he was coming in at the weight above me. I was super
Yeah,
middleweight at the time.
yeah,
And so that was my first challenging fight. But I went out there where I knew there was a lot on the line, and I went and knocked him out in one round, dropped him, then knocked him out in one round,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Making
Eddie then
waves.
he put me on the show, the Kelbrook versus Golovkin O2 Arena show. That was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
first.
I was there. I was there. I went up there at that
Yeah,
fight. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. That was my first O2 show, and I got kind of a feel for it. Obviously, it was still early, so it wasn't like 20,000 where AJ's walking out O2, but
yeah.
it
Early
was
doors.
like, man, gave you a feel of what it was like, and then I pushed on from there, and then had my first title fight, 7 fights, and went with Matchroom from there.
Yeah, it's the experience. That's a sick experience. What I was gonna ask you is like, obviously a lot of boxers you got to see obviously like Buatsi and that the way they've kind of come through the England setup and they've boxed for their country etc. and gone through them stages. But you've gone from obviously going from the amateurs to turning pro. Like what making that transition and how did that feel having to like graft and kind of build yourself up to where you're at now?
it was hard because last year, as I said, no, last year the amateurs,
Yeah,
when I dedicated my whole life to boxing,
yeah,
um, was doing little things here, PTing little bits in here to make ends meet. But I wasn't working as such,
yeah,
and amateurs I was not getting paid. I'm not in the GB squad, not in the England squad, no nothing. So I'm having to fund myself, and I'm training 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, and then
yeah,
training 7 till 10. So I'm full-time athlete traveling, but training as the pros, where it's hard because everyone's out there making money doing their thing, and you're just focused on grafting on the gym. So you're falling behind maybe your peers and your friends, but having to stay focused. So that was probably the hardest stage for me until I then obviously had my debut and then started making money and then moving forward from there.
yeah, 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 yeah. So you have to be like dedicated, you have to kind of keep yourself at it really, because especially when everyone's out there doing whatever and you're just trying to keep your head down and just you
That's
know
what
what the
I'm
long
saying.
term goal is.
Yeah, so it's just like trying to sacrifice the short term buzz and invest, like being around everyone buzzing at the time, having
Yeah,
to cut all of that to look at a long term goal, longevity. And
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
being a young guy at the time, it's not easy. You
No,
got you
no.
got social pressure, so
Yeah,
you got to make the decision. Do you care about the social pressures, or do you care about the vision you got?
the long
And
term goal of it.
obviously,
Yeah,
boxing a one man vision. So it's not like you're saying to your friends, "Look, let's all do this, and in the long term, we'll make money." You're having to make that sacrifice and choice on your own, and do it on your own, and be the only one in that position. But
yeah.
I just always believed in my vision and believed in my goal, so I stuck to that.
No, that's great, man. That's proper good. That is, man. Definitely good. Um, Also, so where you train is like it's some kind of like a matchroom setup there. A lot of
Yeah.
matchroom fighters. What's that like being there around the matchroom fighters and the
Uh,
good trainers? You got Peter Sims as your trainer, right?
yeah, Peterson's my trainer. Tony obviously trains all the boys at the Matchroom Elite Gym. That's his gym, so he's in charge down there. And all the boys down there, they're like top fighters. They all come from top amateur pedigrees, maybe like GB, maybe you know, top big amateur pedigrees and like good pros. You got Ryder who just boxed Callum Smith. You got
Yeah,
a lot of the boys at high level. So when you're competing and training with these boys day to day, you're
yeah,
pushing all the time. Like every day is not easy. It's like to start camp, you got to have a pre-camp just to get to a certain level to train with these guys.
yeah,
And every day yeah, it's crazy. Like you're never relaxed. Every time you progress, they're pushing on. So you're
yeah.
pushing on, they're pushing on, and it's very competitive. So if we do a run in the morning and you run bad, everyone's bouncing you for the whole week.
Everyone's onto you, yeah,
Yeah, everyone's onto you. You're just gonna
yeah.
get
But
mocked for the whole.
you kind of need that though, innit, to like push you along.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think like I moved over there because I was at the Sims gym before in the other side of Essex, and I moved over there about a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
And ever since I've been there, my progress has been rapid.
yeah,
It's like you're training like a world champ constantly, um, in that, and I'm learning a lot. Because as I said, my amateur pedigree wasn't big, but now I'm with people who was with big amateur pedigrees who do know the game a lot, who know what they're doing. So you can get advice here and there. You're watching what they're doing. You're seeing. You're listening. You're like talking. Knowing when to rest, when to go. So yeah, the experience there is invaluable, really.
learning a lot off your peers. No, that's good. And then also, I see you doing a bit of work with Nigel Benn, the legend, um,
Yeah,
down in the gym.
yeah.
What was that like, and what kind of advice is he giving you?
Oh, do you know what? He actually said something to me earlier this year that he saw me boxing a year or two ago, and he thought, yeah, the guy's decent. He could probably do bits. But he said when he saw me the other day, he's like, right, you're ready to take over. You're ready to compete with the best of them.
Yeah,
He said, I watched you a year or two ago. I thought he's decent, but now at the level I'm watching you now in the gym, he said, you're ready to go now. You're ready to.
uh,
So it
that's
was like
that's
hearing
that's
that
a,
from a guy I
and he's a
grew up
legend as
watching.
well.
A legend. Like he's
Yeah,
the first boxer, funny enough, I ever met. His his daughter went to my school, um, and her and my sister was best friends. So I remember my sister one day was going to her house, which was Nigel Ben's house. At the
yeah,
time I used to watch boxing, so I
yeah,
just tagged along. I was like, "Yeah, boxing." And I remember
yeah.
going there and seeing like the swimming pool, all the belts on the wall,
Mad.
looked like a 50-inch TV before flat screens. You can imagine what the box TV looked like in 50-inch. It was
Mad.
massive. So it
Yeah,
was like he's the first boxer I've seen in real life. What boxing can deliver for you. And
Yeah.
he's the guy I grew up watching Nigel Benn, Chris Eubanks, obviously Tyson, that era. So
Yeah.
it was funny enough that to be the guy he spars with last and be in the gym with and talking to and that, it's just mad how things worked out.
And what was the sparring like with him? Because obviously he's a bit older now, but he seems like he's still got it. He can give it, definitely.
He's still got it. You can see some of the moves. You know, if he was in his prime when he's trying to switch position, you
Yeah.
know you're getting away with a few things because you're thinking, if he was sharp enough and he threw that shot there,
Yeah.
you could have been in trouble there. But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
see the movements of him that you can
Yeah.
see where was the problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like learning little things even off of that. Of course, he might not have been able to execute as well as he did before, but I can read him to see what he's doing, how he's putting you in certain positions, and I can take some of the bits. Obviously, we've got two different statures and boxing styles, so I wouldn't take the blueprint of him and try and use in mine, but there's little bits I can pick off of that to
Take little
add
bits
into
out.
my style. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's amazing, man. Definitely. So it comes now, and then you get the call up for the Bugloni fight.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more of that because it's a week notice you had for
Yeah.
the fight, right?
Yeah, 5 days. So what happened is, so I was meant to fight a guy, Tyon Booth, a couple of weeks before, just a normal 6-rounder.
Yeah,
He weighed in a bit light.
time beef
Yeah,
in the mouth, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
he weighed in a bit light. So the fight never happened.
yeah,
And then I got a call on the Tuesday. Eddie called me and said, "Look, we're fighting in Belfast. I think Ryan Burnett's having his world title fight. You never got to fight the other week. You're right, still come do a 4-rounder on the show." So
yeah,
I said to myself, "Oh yeah, I can. Like, I'm always fit enough to do a 4-rounder." So we went there. He said, "You don't have to worry about your weight because he's the weight above you anyway.
yeah,
So come in what you want." Said all right. So we flew over to Belfast, just me and my trainer. We went there. We fought. I stopped him in the 3rd round.
yeah,
And then afterwards, is in the bar, and everyone was obviously I don't drink, but everyone was Eddie, my manager, and everyone was all sitting in the bar. And then he started telling them us about the pay-per-view show next week. Anthony Joshua attack him. They've already had to change Anthony Joshua's opponents to attack him.
yeah,
Callum Johnson's ended up in it not being able to compete. And Bugloni's got his British he needed to fight for, and it's next
yeah,
week, and he's got no opponent no more.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he said, "Oh, it'd be nice if you lot filled in laughing." So I'm like, not even taking it. I'm like, ha, ha, ha. So I turned around and hear my manager said, "Yeah, that's a good idea." I said, "What? What are you talking about?" "Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good idea." I'm like, "Like, do you want to talk to me about this?" And
yeah,
he's
yeah,
like, "Oh, is that would you consider this?" I've got to make a few calls first, but yeah, like if you'd like to, that would be great. No pressure. Da, 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 da. So we sat down, went through the contract of what it'd be if you do want to take it. This is what it is. Da, 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 da. And my manager's like, "Look, it was a great opportunity. I know it's a big ask. It's the weight above British champion. You're 10-0, but it's a great opportunity. You know, this is sort of things that if you did pull it off, it can change your career." And I just thought, you know what? I said, all right, let me sleep on it. I said, at the moment, it's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, Saturday night in
yeah.
the bar. I said, but I'm going to fight next year. I better go to bed first of all, and then I'll sleep on it.
I think I
So I
sleep on
left,
it, yeah.
yeah, I left Eddie, I left my manager, and I went to my room. And I remember calling my pops and that. I made a couple of calls, like asking. They was like, "Nah." Everyone was a bit like, "Nah, that don't make sense. Why would you do that?" And
Yeah,
I was like, "Yeah, I know. Do you know what? It's a bit mad." And then I woke up in the morning. I don't know. I just thought, you know what? Fuck it. Like, it's a fight. Like, that's what we're in
yeah,
it for. Doesn't matter, innit? I've never done 12 rounds, but I believe that I can fight anyone, innit? So I just went
yeah,
and knocked my manager's room door. The next day I said, he said, "Oh, what's up?" I said, "Yeah, I want to take the fight." So "You going to take it?" He said, "Yes, that's a good decision. I'll bring in Eddie now." Rang Eddie. Eddie said, "Yeah, everything's in place. If you want it, let's go." I said, "All right." So that night, we flew back from Ireland Sunday night.
yeah.
Trained 2 4-round spars Monday and Tuesday, and had to make my way to Cardiff for the public workout.
That's
Um,
short
and
notice, just like that.
yeah, 2 spars, had my public workout, presser, public weigh-in, and fought the Saturday night. And it's funny because even the weigh-in,
Yeah,
because I was super middleweight, I had 2 breakfasts that morning before the weigh-in to try and
yeah.
even make into
Take
the
you
light
up.
heavyweight weight. Yeah.
That
And I
is
still only
mad.
coming 12 stone 5. The time I
Yeah,
fought, I was only 12 stone 4, which is like still light for a super middleweight.
yeah, yeah,
So I remember I had the fight, and I remember there were certain rounds I was doing a right in early, and I remember I think at the 3rd round, I think I hurt him a bit, and I remember making a decision when I caught him with a shot, like, do you have a jump on him now?
yeah,
But if you jump on him now and you don't get him out there, you got 9 rounds left. You've never
yeah,
done 12 rounds.
yeah,
And I remember he knocked out Jose Burton in the 11th or
yeah,
12th.
yeah, yeah.
And I thought,
I
this
remember
guy can obviously punch from round 1 to 12. So if
that.
you gas out later, you'll be in problems. But from then I just boxed, and I think I just coasted a lot of the rounds, and then come into it the second. When I saw 11th round again, I was like, hold on, you've still got loads left. And I picked back up in 11th and 12th, but I was too late, come up short on the scores. And I remember going there and everyone's like, well, you took it on 5 days notice. And I thought, nah, that's no excuse. What could I have done better? I thought, first of all, I need to grow into my weight properly if I'm ever going to do light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And secondly, there were certain things backing up on the road, put myself in positions. And I just went over a lot of the stuff, watched it back, went over it. And then I came into the light heavyweight properly. Then I had 3 fights at light heavyweight, knocked them all out within 3 rounds. And then I remember then I was obviously offered the title fight after that.
Yeah, no. So it was good experience. I remember watching that fight, man. You done really well, and especially taking that late notice, and he was a champion. Like, not many boxers, people kind of pussyfoot around who they want to fight when they're coming up, and for you to kind of just take that fight on the notice that you did, like, I think it was very good, man. Very respected for that, definitely.
Yeah, man.
And since from then, would you say that your publicity changed from that fight?
Yeah, because I remember even the day I walked out the arena after, and before I took that fight, I was 10-0, and I wasn't really getting that much praise. But I remember that day I walked out the arena, and the fans and the crowd are treating me like I just unified the division. It was like commending me. Everyone was like asking me for pictures, like commending me, everything, and I was like, what? I'm like, why is everyone acting like this? And this is the first time I've come up short, and now I'm feeling like I'm getting praised. I'm then coming back down to the ends, and I'm walking around. People are like, you're the guy who boxed Bugloni. Oh, mate, can I, like, well done. And I thought, I feel like my profile would change, but I don't know if it's because it was Sky Sports box office show. People got to see, everyone knew I took it on short notice, and I feel like I got commended quite well for the situation that I was in. But off the back of that, you don't want to be commended for that. You want to be commended for achieving great things. So
definitely,
when I went to the gym and I worked really hard, since then I just put my head down. It kind of introduced me to the pro game of what I need to do and how I grow as a fighter. And I think that I learned a lot.
A learning curve, a big learning curve.
Massive.
And then it comes to Jake Paul, and it's for the WBA Intercontinental.
Yeah,
heavyweight, right?
Intercontinental title, yeah.
So obviously the fight got cancelled a few times. What? Tell me a little bit about that, and we're going to the fight as well.
So my third fight at light heavyweight, he was ringside, and I knocked the guy in the 3rd round. And as I got back to my changing room, I walked back, and so I was getting changed. I just jumped out of the shower, and someone said, "Oh, Jake Paul just called you out." I said, "What do you mean Jake Paul just called you out?" Said he called you out on Twitter. And they showed me, he took a picture of Eddie Hearn. He said, "Good 3rd round KO. How about we get on for my title, champ?"
Yeah.
So I said, "You say he's ringside?" They said, "Yeah." So I just quickly threw my tracksuit on and ran out. And then I ran out
South London.
And he was like, "Oh, like Eddie said to me, he said, like, if I want a big fight, you'll be a big fight to have." And I just said, "All right, cool. Well, you've done it now, so we're gonna fight in it." So I said, probably this time it was June, and he was talking about. So I said, September we can fight, and he was like, "Well, I ain't got an opponent for next month, so we can fight in a few weeks." I said, "Why would I fight you? I've just fought today. Why would I fight in a few weeks? Like, we'll have a proper camp, and me and you fight." I said, "Have your fight July, then me and you fight September." And then he was like, "Okay, cool." And then he kept pressing the situation on Twitter, which probably my ego got the better of me. I rang my manager the next day. I was like, "Oh, can you ring Eddie and make the fight happen? Like, this guy keeps calling out. He's pissed. Like, what happens?" So he's like, "Oh, don't let him bother you." I said, "I know I shouldn't, but it has bothered me. Like, can we make the fight, please?" And then he was like, "All right, I'll ring Eddie." So he rang Eddie. He rang me back, and he said, "I don't know why he's calling you out. Eddie just said he can't fight in July. He's done his Achilles." So I was like, "Oh, that don't make sense, but cool." So probably September then. I said, "All right." Then they arranged to do it. I think Joshua was going to fight September 22nd or something. They said, "Right, we'll put it on the Joshua card." So I was like, "All right." He was training for that. As we got to like July, he then said that Jake Paul then said he weren't going to be ready. His injury wasn't, it just got better, and he's been in camp, but he ain't going to be ready for September. So we said, "All right, no problem." So in October, he said, "We're going to fight." So I said, "Okay, cool." Cut long story short, got ready, had the whole camp for October. Fight week, he pulled out. And I said, "Oh, so what did he pull out for?" They sent me, obviously, my manager, the image of the little red mark on his hand for the proof. Obviously, I put on social media, was bantering him about it, saying you can't put that.
Jake no balls, yeah?
Yeah, Jake no balls.
Jake no balls. Disrespectful, yeah.
So I tried to push him back into the fight. I wanted to irritate him, get under his skin. So he thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna fight. Didn't happen. I fought someone else, stopped him in the second round, and then we were set to box December. I think it was on the Dylan White card. So I got into camp for that.
Yeah.
And then he then contacted Matchroom saying that Liam Williams, who was at Dominic Ingles' gym,
Yeah.
he was boxed on the same day. So he don't want to box me without Ingles in his corner. So he cancelled the December show.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to fight December. So then I had to train. Then they put it in February, which I had to train Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, all through the whole public holidays to fight him again. And then February the 2nd, the fight finally came and we got in the ring. And yeah, I dropped him every round to stop him.
Yeah, see, that's some big right hands down the pipe, man. Would you say would you say that fight as well kind of boosted you a lot as well, your publicity and stuff?
Oh, 1,000,000%, because it was like the big grudge match. Everyone was it was because it went back and forth for what, next to nearly a year, a few months short, maybe 9 months back and forth. It built interest and everyone called it a grudge match. And you know, everyone in boxing loves a grudge match. Everyone likes a bitter situation. Yeah. So that day we co-mained in the O2 Arena, 10,000 people in there. It was also my debut for America because it was on DAZN USA. He just launched DAZN. So I was boxing in DAZN as well as on Sky Sports. So it was in profile-wise, it got a lot of viewing audience. This is attention. So it meant a lot because I kind of felt like if I lost that fight, where do I go from here? Back down to lower domestic. I already won a Southern area. I don't really want to be back down there. So I knew it was a must-win fight, and I just thought he's gonna have to kill me in this ring today, and I went out there and got the job done. Yeah,
you was on it, man. You done well in that fight, really well, man. Was it 3 rounds? Was it 3 rounds you got him out?
Hold on, sorry. Can you hear me again?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, someone called me accidentally.
It was 3 rounds, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3 rounds.
Yeah,
3 rounds. So I think I dropped him in the first, then I dropped him in the second, then I dropped him in the third, and then the referee jumped in after a barrage of punches for the stoppage.
Stopped it. Oh, that's it. Well done, man. And then it gets to Andre Sterling. I've sparred with Andre Sterling when I was boxing at Earlshaw and stuff. Good fighter, but I know it was kind of like the Battle of South London, like a lot of kind of pressure on that. Do you know what I mean? Where he was kind of giving it to each other. Like, what was that like, and what was the pressure like? You know what? The Battle of kind of South London. It
was hard because I've known Andre for a while, and I heard him kind of calling me out a little bit a few times on social Twitters and stuff. And I kind of saw him out, and I said to him, like, this fight for you and me even don't really make sense right now. I know you, it can be big in the future. Keep winning. Obviously, build your profile. I'll build my profile, and we can have a big shutdown, make some good money, and let the best man win. And he was kind of like, I hear that. But then they went to the board, tried to mandate me for a final eliminator and everything, and I felt like he was pressing the situation. So as we got to that, I thought, you know what, let's make the fight happen. And at the time before he had mentioned me on Twitter, I never even had a title at heavyweight. So I thought, you're obviously calling me out for profile-wise. Like, you want to get into the Matchroom, get into the Sky Sports. You want to take what I've kind of built up.
What you achieved,
what I've achieved. And I kind of felt like you should stay on your own journey. Stop trying to jump on my parade. So I kind of took it a bit personal a bit. And when he was trying to talk back and forth to me on social media, I felt like because of the Jake incident and how the fight blew up, I felt like he was trying to get into a situation like that. So I tried to not entertain it. I just thought, I'm just going to box you, beat you, and that's it. I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm not having this grudge match. I'm not going to do it. And then obviously he kept saying little things on social, and I just kept laughing, just leaving it like that. And then obviously I went to see my sponsor next door to the Peacocks, and he was doing an interview with I think Sky at the time outside the Peacock about me as I was walking past, coincidentally. He's kind of saw me, said something. I've just jumped the wall, ran over there, and then it started going off. Then everyone obviously took their cameras out. So I fell into the trap. Then obviously I went training, went sparring. I came out. That video had gone viral. I saw like Sky Sports Boxing's posted. I saw like artist Wiley, all these people posting it, and by then it blew up, and I was like, it's there now. So I just we ran with it. That day, my phone went crazy.
Yeah.
Ticket sales just went mad. Like, the fight was on for like 6 weeks. People was buying tickets. But when that happened, that day, the show had sold out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
no more tickets, sold out event. That's when I realized everyone loves an argument in the Grudge
Yeah,
match.
love it. They love it.
They love it. So
Yeah,
from then, that sold out. And then it come fight night, and we was there.
yeah. You done what you needed to do.
Yeah, I done what I
It,
needed to
it
do.
was a good,
You
it was
know,
a good fight, man. Very, very
it
good
was a
fight.
good fight. I had to commend his heart. He's got a lot of heart. I hurt him a few times in the fight, and he dug deep, and he just kept grinding through. And I saw at one point he was tired, he was cooked, but
Yeah,
his pride and his ego was not allowing him. So I have
yeah,
to say, you know what, this guy's got heart. Like, he never just went out. Like, most guys would say, like, you know, I've had enough. But this guy, he was a tough cookie, a tough customer. I give
a,
him props.
a lot of pride was on the line with that fight, man. Like,
It
even though
was. The whole
you've
ends was
had
there.
bigger, you've had bigger fights, but
Yeah.
because like it's kind of ends and everyone kind of knows each other, so it's like it's that little bit
You know, the
different. Do you know what I
ends fights are the worst.
mean? Yeah, yeah,
Like,
it's mad.
it's like, you lose to someone abroad, people be like, oh, okay, it is what it is. You lose on ends to another man on ends. You
Yeah,
know,
you ain't gonna hear
like,
the last of it. You ain't gonna hear the last
you
of
don't
it.
hear the last of it. Like, I might be walking, I might even go Lewisham or something. You see some young youths looking at you and be like, oh, welcome, champ, you're the you. And you're like, oh, yeah, cool. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
guys, you know, he's not even into boxing. Watch that fight because
Fight.
it was 2 men from ends.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it was good. It was good.
yeah, yeah. No, that's a good fight, man. Just props to that. And then your last fight, you had is it Chad Sudgen?
Yeah, Tad Sugden. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people said that like you won that fight.
yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that and
Yeah,
what
like,
you thought
it
of the
was like,
decision and stuff.
the fight, basically, we was going back and forth before. Going back a little bit, we was meant to fight for the British. Like, I was mandatory, obviously, from June from Sterling, and we was meant to fight for the British. But obviously, at the time, Boatsy had it, he'd vacated it, so we needed an opponent to fight for it. Then everyone we was possible opponents ended up going to the Golden Contract tournament, so we was strapped with options.
Yeah,
And then after that, they then mandated the English champion just to fight me, which was Agash Khan. So we was like, okay, cool.
yeah,
At the time, we was going back and forth with a contract, with our new contract with Matchroom. It was nothing to do with the Shaq or the British. So it was in negotiations from that. But because that contract didn't get finished, because the British title fight was in the contract,
yeah,
we didn't get to finish that contract. So that affected the fight with Shaq.
yeah,
Obviously, I went on social media, I let him know the fight's still going to go on. Don't worry, we just went finishing our contract. He went a bit back and forth about, oh, yeah, I think he's trying to duck me, talking all this weird stuff.
yeah,
So, cut long story short, the contract ended up finishing. Eddie said, all right, fight's on December. Go to the gym, train. I'll come back a week or so later. They said they needed more time. They wasn't going to fight December. So I was like, okay. But then they said this Chad guy has been calling me out for a while. Says, you
yeah,
can fight this Chad guy, maybe to defend your title. I said, yeah, that's perfect. 10 or 12 rounds, let's go.
yeah,
So we trained for Chad. We didn't train for Chad. We were still in camp for Shaq, to be honest.
yeah,
Up
yeah,
till the actual fight, I was still concentrating on the British. I just thought I'll box this guy, get him out of the way, and just continue my British title fight. So when I got into the fight now, the fight week, sorry, taking it back, fight week, the board then come to us and said, no, we're not allowing you to fight him over 10 or 12. We'll allow you to do an 8-rounder. We're not allowing you to put your title on the line.
yeah,
So we was like, what? Like, why? I've never even done an 8-rounder. Like, at least
yeah,
do a 10-rounder. I don't even like short fights.
yeah,
So they never allowed it. So I boxed this Chad guy. I remember early second or third round, I saw it broke his nose. I saw his eyes closing up. And I remember going to the corner and my trainer was like, right, this guy's not on your level, mate. Like, you've hurt him. You're not even out of gear 1. Go through the gears and go and get him out. But I was kind of like, well, I'm winning. I just kind of want to just take the register,
yeah,
run off into the night and get concentrated on my proper fight.
yeah,
And I'm just going through the motions, still feeling like obviously I'm winning comfortably. I should have probably just gone through the gears and got him out. But at the time, I'm just coasting the fight, just wanted to tick it off. At the end of the fight, he commended me, whatever. I said, yeah, you done well sticking there. Because I thought it'd probably get stopped because he was his eyes was closed up, his nose was
yeah,
like, he
yeah.
was
That
bloody, if you
battered up
see.
as
He was
yeah, that
battered.
battered
So I was
up.
thinking, someone's going to pull him out eventually. Never happened, made it to final bell. And then he said, oh, draw. And I was like, what? And he come up
Yeah,
to me and he was like, do you know what? I thought you won that fight. You won. His dad come up to me and said, look, you won. we're happy to do a rematch. We don't know why that decision, especially on a Matchroom show, whatever. And I said, oh, look, at the end of the day, you're not to blame. You're not the ref. You're not the judge. You're
Yeah.
just here doing your job. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it. So we kind of left that situation. I was a bit annoyed about it. But then afterwards, I kind of had a shower and stuff. And I thought could have been worse. Imagine they robbed me and I lost my mandatory position for the British, etc.
Oh, that would have been
Then I
mad.
would have been pissed. So I looked at the positive and the negative. Like everyone saw the fight. Everyone knew I won the fight.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just moved on.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. You definitely, you should have won that fight. And then, so with Shakan, are you not going to be getting that on for the British light heavy, or is that fight still in progress? Or
So this is the situation with that fight now. So obviously earlier in the year I was ill when I had the virus.
Yeah, yeah,
Then so I couldn't fight. Then obviously a couple weeks later the whole show got pulled anyway because of the
yeah,
whole COVID situation.
yeah,
So after that we obviously said when I finish now, we said to the board, yeah, we're ready, let's go. They said, well, until you show us medically, you're cool, you
yeah,
can't fight. Went sorted out my doctors, got a letter, got a COVID test, cleared, sent everything into the board. They said, all right, you're good to go now. But then, so we was like, obviously, I'm going to be fighting Shaq as soon as it commences.
yeah.
So we was planning for the Shaq fight again. And then someone rang me and said, oh, I heard that Chad and Shaq's meant to be fighting behind closed doors. So I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
So at this point, obviously, I've spoke to my manager. My manager's like, well, obviously they can't. You're the mandatory. None of them are even mandatory. You was the
no.
mandatory
Yeah,
who
yeah,
you needed an opponent.
yeah,
So he contacted their promoter. He was like, first of all, not even responding really to my manager. Then
yeah,
eventually got hold of him and he was like, oh, basically the purse that I'm going to have to pay me, they can't basically do it behind closed doors. So they have to wait till the show's open again. So in the meantime, they're going to make Chad fight Shaq. I'm like, for one, you've bidded for the fight. That shouldn't be my concern
yeah,
or my problem. Like, we're ready for the fight. I'm the mandatory. Me and Shaq should just be fighting. That's it.
yeah, yeah.
So where he signed Chad Shogden and he signed Shakan Peters, he's trying
Yeah.
to keep it in house.
Oh,
So they're
okay, I
trying to
understand.
block me out. They're trying to
Yeah,
close
yeah,
the door on me.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, and I think they're pretty close to the board and stuff like they're all in house.
yeah.
So they're all working together to try to
Cut you
keep
out.
keep me out.
Yeah,
But they're saying, oh, don't worry, after lockdown, you're first mandatory to fight them and stuff like that. So we've had to just suffer it for now. Let them fight, I think, in a month or so, and then I've got to fight the winner off
yeah.
the back of that
So they're gonna be fighting the
for the
British light
British,
heavyweight,
yeah.
yeah.
Which is
Okay.
funny enough because when we wanted to fight Shad over 10 or 12, they said he's not eligible to fight a 10 or a 12 rounder
Yeah, yeah.
or
See
for
that.
a title.
Yeah,
But he's done an 8-rounder and now they're saying he's eligible for a 12-round British.
yeah. Doesn't make sense.
Does that even make sense?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, but we don't let them bother us. We don't let them, and that's why I didn't really go on social, not kicked up stink or nothing, because I just think, you know what, they're trying to wind you up. Just get on with your career. In the
Yeah,
meantime, of a fight, during the fight, between that, it is what it is. But
yeah,
it's like I just got to get on with my career at the end of the day.
yeah. No, but that fight, it will come for the British light heavyweight, man. So
Yeah, I've been
hopefully it
mandatory
just comes
over a
soon.
year now. It's
Yeah,
been well over a year. I won my mandatory with June 21st. We're past June 21st. It's well over a year. You don't see people waiting this long for a British title fight.
no, no, not at all.
So, yeah, I'm not really bothered. I'm ninth in the world in the WBA now, so I'm pushing forward in the right direction.
Yeah,
Whether I get that and then move on or whatever, I'm just going to stay focused then, Jim, keep working hard, let my
yeah,
manager do his job, get me whatever fights I need to be getting. I've just got to
yeah.
focus on what I need to do, really.
No, yeah. So like, if you did get a call up to fight behind closed doors, obviously with COVID, what's going on, and then obviously having the scare of when you thought you had COVID as well, would you box or?
Yeah, if I had a good notice, like if he said, right, I got a big fight for you, 6-8 weeks time, but it's behind closed doors and the money's okay, yeah, I'll
Yeah,
go. I'd
yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead. We're fighters at the end of the day. We like to fight. It's just as long as the opportunity presents itself well, and you'll get rewarded accordingly to what you for the fight.
yeah,
You're gonna fight anyone, anywhere. And I think the reason I have that mentality is because as I came into boxing, I don't think I had that mentality. And I look at the sort of profiling fights I had early in my career,
Yeah.
and I think they went unnoticed because I just took every fight. It's like after 6, 7 fights, I'm fighting guys 12-0, 6 knockouts for Southern area titles,
Yeah.
headline on
Yeah.
Sky, and probably not even getting no recognition, no comments for it, probably not getting what I probably deserve for them sort of fights. And that's
Definitely.
because I came on just a fighting mentality rather than thinking of a business
The
mentality.
business
And
side
as
of
you
it.
push on in your career, you realize that you don't want to end up having your whole boxing career and then having to get a job somewhere else in Tesco's or whatever because you weren't thinking business-wise. So it's just about building right. At the same time, you're not trying to get a big piece of the pie before your time. You got to understand where you're at your stage. So it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
about trying to build and getting the risk to reward accordingly to the stages you're at in your career. So you got to kind of think a bit business as well sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, and I spoke to Boatsy a couple of weeks ago, and he said kind of the same thing. It's got to make sense, especially for the money, the business side of things. It's
Yeah,
a lot of understanding to do that side.
yeah,
So, yeah,
100%. And that's what it is. That is exactly what Boatsy said. Is exactly what I understand where he's coming from because
yeah,
your time and time the camps are hard, the career's not massively long, so you want to get out something from it and move on.
yeah, yeah. So for when you're going to like a world stage, so is WBA going to be the route that you're looking to take? Because like you
Yeah,
said,
well, I'm top
you're ninth
15.
there, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm top 15 in the world in the IBF, and
Yeah,
I'm top 10, number 9 now in the WBA.
yeah,
So we're pushing towards that right now, and I think that's the sort of I'm looking at people in the list, and
yeah,
they're the sort of fights that I believe that are winnable at the stage I'm at right now, and I can
yeah, yeah,
beat a lot of the guys nearer the top in the
yeah,
weight.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I've got some questions from the followers. Um, who do you base your style off? Who do you watch, like, well, like past and present for your style of boxing?
I feel like I've gone through stages,
Yeah,
when I first came into the game, obviously, like we went through a Floyd era.
yeah,
You
yeah,
came in watching a lot of the Floyd stuff.
yeah,
Um, but then when you start watching them later in your career, you realize that um, maybe sometimes not busy enough. So then you watch other fighters, you might watch I like Errol Spence, he's a good guy. I
yeah,
like Crawford, I think Lennox, I think it's Thomas Hearns for my style. There's a lot of
yeah,
things I used to watch of Roy Jones Jr. I used to
yeah,
like. I'll be honest, the way I study boxing now, because I understand it and understand what people's style is,
yeah,
depending on what I want to work on or learn in the gym, is I'll watch that night of
yeah,
someone who does that well, rather
yeah,
than
yeah.
specifically just say, right, I'm going to watch Floyd Mayweather. Because what I
Okay,
might be working on, that's not what Floyd's best asset is.
no, no,
So I've got to think about what I'm trying to do with who I'm studying now.
yeah,
So I don't
okay,
just pick my favorites anymore.
okay. And the next one is, do you fancy yourself against Boatsy or Yard? And if you do, how would you do it?
How would I
I know
do
your
what?
answer.
Which one?
Yeah, how would you beat them? Each one,
I fancy myself against everyone. If I'm
obviously,
honest, I think
yeah,
they're both good fighters,
yeah,
and I think stylistically, I don't think you'd beat them both the same. So I
yeah,
think they box completely different.
yeah, yeah.
So I think I would I would take a different approach for the two of them. I think.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Cool. And number three, when do you think you become a world champion? When are you planning to be world champion?
Um, I think it's realistic for me to do it in 12 months.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to be less than 18, but 12 months is really within 12 months. I'd love to be world champion.
yeah, definitely do what I say anyway. And then I've got quick fire rounds. Yeah, so I've got a couple 7 questions. Quick fire. You've got to tell me your answer. Which one? Yeah, Pac-Man or Mayweather?
Mayweather.
Tyson or Ali?
I
Mike
watched
Tyson or Ali?
I watched Tyson growing up, but Ali is a legend.
Yeah. So which one?
Yeah. I'd have to go Ali because he's the GOAT.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Eddie
And
or
his
Frank?
resume, sorry, his resume is better.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Top
Yeah.
people that you fought.
So again?
And I said that you fought a lot of top opponents.
Yeah, that's
Ali.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He beat
Yeah.
like George Foreman and that when he was in his prime and knocking everyone out.
Yeah. 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 Eddie or Frank? Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren?
Eddie.
um, Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua?
Joshua.
Joshua. Nigel Benn or Chris Eubank?
Nigel Benn.
Nigel Benn. Okay. Hair or no hair?
Yeah.
Hair, obviously. And then the last one, plantain or plantain?
Planting. Come on.
Come on. Yeah, that's all done, man. But yeah, bro, thanks for coming on. It's been
No
a good
problem,
chat.
man.
And
It's been a very good chat.
you got good things coming ahead, man. Definitely gonna see you as a British champion soon and world title you straight after that, man. So thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking to us, and hopefully we get to catch up again soon, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's been good talking to you, and to see the stuff you're putting on your channel is really good. So I commend people to watch that and follow that, man. You always got the good stuff coming through your channel, man.
Nice one, bro. Just more keep pushing.
Yeah, man. Love.
All right. I'll catch you up anyway, yeah?
Catch you
Nice
later,
speaking
bro.
to you, bro. See you later, bro. Thanks. And that's it, fight fans.